time away from what you're going to hear from Mauria Dillard. So I get a text from Blair on August 6th of 2014. And she said, holy moly, she actually used a little bit of a word Blair would never use. She's like, I cannot believe what our friend Elise is doing in this business. And I need to talk to you. And I said, oh, that product, Blair, we've been saying it's snake oil. She goes, no, it actually works. My neck hasn't been hurting for 3 weeks. We need to talk. Picked up the phone, and this is as simple as it was. I was immediately put on a 3-way call with this woman, this amazing human, extraordinary woman who you are going to hear from tonight. And she simply shared her story. And at the time, she had hit the top rank of the company. It was 2014. And and all I could think is, oh my gosh, she was a speech pathologist paying off. She's able to pay off her student loan debt. She's able to have time at home with her kids. And her story inspired me to know, oh my gosh, I can do this too. And I could really relate to her. Well, imagine that in your phone, in your Facebook friends, somewhere in your life, you have a Mauria Dillard, because you do. And she has gone on to over billions in sales, 8-figure earner. And here she is tonight to pour into all of you, to share her story, to share a little bit about the bonuses. And you guys, there aren't many companies. Some people will say, I can't believe our millionaires get on. Like we have a billionaire that's spending her Sunday evening with us, will text me on a regular basis, knows the names of my kids, and literally prays for all of us every single day. And it makes me want to cry. It's such a beautiful thing. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Mauria, to share whatever is on your heart. I'm going to spotlight you in the video because you're so beautiful and we need to see that face.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Well, thank you guys so much. And I can see your messages in the chat. So feel free to leave any comments or ask me any questions. So I've only done a few Zooms from the ranch. So those of you that are used to hearing from me, this is not the typical setting that you're used to hearing me in, but we're actually in West Texas at our ranch. And we have a snow day tomorrow for school. The kids actually go to school late because in Texas, nobody knows how to deal with snow. I don't even know. I think we got probably like 6 inches today. And so we've been outside. The kids have made a snowman. It's just been like this winter wonderland in Texas. And when we found out the kids had a late start, we're like, well, let's just stay the night here again. So we love it here. It's just kind of become a home away from home. And that's another like dream come true for my husband. So it's crazy the possibilities that are out there when you find something that you fall in love with, that you get to just share your heart with people, share your own personal experiences, and then actually get paid to do so. So I know we've got some new people on. If you've been with us less than a year, or if you're even just on here, just kind of checking things out, like if you're kind of being a fly on the wall, let me know. I always love to know who my audience is. But I'll just kind of take you guys back to 2013. And that's where my journey began. Tired, exhausted mama, just desperate to feel better. We have 4 kids, so big family. Beth mentioned I am a speech pathologist. That was my career. I had worked in the schools for a little bit and then ended up working in the home health setting with geriatric patients. It afforded me a little bit more flexibility with my kids and their schedules, but became a contract therapist. So basically I didn't get paid unless I went to work. Like I was paid hourly. So we had moved to West Texas, about 4 hours away from all our friends and family, accepted a voluntary transfer that we knew was right for our family as far as my husband's job. And y'all, I found myself in such a funk. The twins were 3. I had twin 3-year-old boys at the time. Gunnar was in elementary school and Jaden was in junior high. So kids all spread out, all different ages. When we made the move, we actually basically drained our savings account. I did not work for several months once we got here, just kind of getting the kids established and all that. So we were I was stuck physically, emotionally. Honestly, my insecurities were through the roof, which was causing some issues in our marriage because that'll do that. And then not a pair of jeans in my closet fit. It was October, and really, you don't pull out your jeans or have to wear long pants until October in Texas. And I was just in a funk, y'all. But my friend Tony had been reaching out to me. When I say friend, she's more of a friend now than she was then. She was a Facebook acquaintance. She was a work acquaintance. She is a former nurse that had worked for a home health company that I used to work for. So she did marketing for the home health company. I was their speech pathologist. And she watched me go from 2 kids to 4 kids overnight when the twins were born. And then she watched me kind of struggling in my career. Not that that I wasn't a good speech pathologist, because I was good at what I did, but she would see me, rolling into the home health agency, running in the door, throwing in the paperwork, running back to the door, or running back to the car, getting, she just basically, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and she saw that. And she had already personally experienced Thrive, fell in love with it, had already helped a lot of other tired, exhausted mamas. So I was on her radar. As a matter of fact, when people, I'm sure that she was being asked all the time, because this is something we always ask, is who do you know that could benefit from this? Like, who do you know that needs more energy, has a lot of kids, has a hard time sleeping, maybe has a lot on their plate, who could benefit from this? And I'm sure I was like number one. Like, she's like, Mauria Dillard, that woman needs this. She's got a lot of kids and she's got a lot on her plate. She could really benefit from this. Plus, she was already helping other people. So I said no to her multiple times. She had reached out to me for a good 8 or 9 months, but finally I just hit a wall and said, enough's enough. I've got to do something different. And I think that's so important to address, because guys, you're reaching out to people right now that need this, but yet they don't know that they need it yet. And it's so important for you just to stay consistent, continue to follow up with them. Now more than ever is a perfect time to follow up with them. But continue to plant those seeds, continue to make sure that they're seeing the stories that are happening here, because at one point they will relate to this. And then there's probably someone that you personally know that's going to bed tonight praying for a solution to what's holding them back physically. They're praying for a solution financially. They're probably in a place where, marriage is rough because they're stuck, and all the stresses of the world can weigh heavily on our relationships, right? So that's another reason that we're always just reaching out to people, because you never know who is looking for this right now. So when I made that decision, reached out to Tony, and I do want to address this because I think it's so important, because the health and wellness industry is huge. We know that there's tons and tons of health and wellness companies out there. There'll be a zillion more created this year, not a zillion, but there'll be many more created this year. There's some that have been around, 20, 30, 40 years. Okay. But what I actually have friends on Facebook that were promoting other health and wellness products at that time that I was actually closer to relationship wise. But y'all, I reached out to Tony, and there's a couple of reasons for that I think are so important as we're sharing. But I've kind of narrowed that down to 3 things over the years, just in looking back. But A was the simplicity. She was always talking about the simplicity of Thrive. Everyone knows if something is simple, they're most likely going to stick to it. When you stick to it, it's going to work, right? Or you're going to have better results. And obviously what we have here is far superior to any other health and wellness product out there. I'm just going to throw that out there. I believe that in my heart. But the simplicity is key. That was appealing to me. Okay. Secondly, were the stories. She was always sharing stories of these happy, thriving people. And they were of all different ages. And, back then our Lavelle fan page wasn't that great, but we had stories of people sharing improved quality of life. Right. So she was always sharing these stories. Third, success. Always that she was celebrating these people. Like, I would see her talk about free doctors, shout out these bonuses that I didn't know anything about. I saw her an iPad mini. So back in the day, at 4K, you would earn an iPad mini. Now you can earn a pair of Maui gems, but back then it was an iPad. And then there were people that were earning car bonuses. And y'all, we know that that is the second largest household expense for most families. Alleviating a car payment alleviates a lot of financial stress for the majority of Americans today, right? And so that was something, and I never dreamed that I would be one of those people that would earn a car. I kind of thought that I knew enough about network marketing that I believed in it. I had been in a party plan company previously, and it had done okay. I never hit a home run necessarily, but had done okay. It was a lot of work. There was no residual to it, but I understood enough about the direct sales industry to know it was promising. But I really didn't think I was ever that person that could even earn a car. I thought that was for other people. But again, I reached out to her because all of those things were showing me that this product was working. Okay. So I was hopeful when I reached out. Started as a customer, wanted nothing to do with the business. We were financially in a pickle, but I wasn't there yet. I couldn't imagine, I don't know, like my mindset just wasn't there. And I think it was because I was so stuck physically, I couldn't even imagine doing anything to put myself in a better place financially. And I think that's so important as we're talking to people, to relate to them, be patient with them, but also to continue to update them, to paint the picture of possibility here. I mean, we're not giving some hype around here. We have reality of thousands and thousands of lives changed across the globe. And so we want to continue to share what's happening here. We never know when that next person is going to be ready, right? So started my experience as a customer. Tony gave me free DFT. She said, I want you to go in and order a tone pack. So back then we had a tone pack. It came with capsules, 2 boxes of shakes, and no DFT. It was $140. She sent me the $50 worth of DFT. Embarrassingly enough, though, my paycheck did not arrive for me to be able to place that order, y'all. So I had to message her the following day after she had already put the DFT in the mail to me. Which another thing to address, guys, anytime the company has promotions where you can stock up on some product, do that. Have a Thrive closet so that you can personally pay it forward to your newest Thrivers that are coming in. Tony brought me in, she made a $50 investment at that moment. And it turned into well over, I think we're at 1.6 billion in sales. All right. So have Thrive Closet. Okay. So it worked out well for her. But I had to embarrassingly message her and say, Tony, I couldn't place my order. There's no way I can take another $150 out of our checking account this week. I have to wait on my paycheck to arrive. Beth, so when you make comments, it's so funny because I see Blair's picture, but it's your face. And I'm like, wait, did Blair get to hop on? But anyway, so it's distracting me a little bit, but I've got it now. I know what's happening. I know it's Beth. Anyway, so fortunately, the paycheck did hit the mailbox, so I could take it to the bank. I got to place my first customer ordered women's capsules, made sure my husband started that with me. So my husband started out on women's capsules. My husband was the day one thriver. It took me about 5 days. I'll never forget, y'all. I think it was on day 3 or 4. And I'm like, how can I'm not that old and I haven't been doing this that long, but I'm like, wait, what date was it? Was it day 3 or day 4? But it was around that time. We had friends, a family in town for Halloween, and we had gone to the pumpkin patch, and they came all the way in. They drove in for 4 hours, brought my nephew, and y'all, I couldn't wait for them to leave because I actually had a headache and wanted to go home and take a nap. So that was like my day 3 or 4. And then that night I had a sick kiddo, didn't get hardly any sleep all night. They had to get up early the next morning to get the older kids to school. And I'll never forget where I was standing in my kitchen, and I had my laptop open, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've done more in the last 5 hours than I have in the last 5 months. And y'all, I was sold. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I feel like I've got my mommy mojo back, my Mauria. Like, I've always been a driven, outgoing person. I've always been a bubbly, happy person, but y'all, I had not been in so long. And I just felt so stinking good. And I didn't want to go like all of a sudden go to the gym or go run a mile or anything like that, but I was crossing things off the to-do list. And I know that there's a lot of you that can relate to this, because when you've got that to-do list and boy, you start just checking it off, it's like those superhero powers like come out and you feel like so empowered, you know what I mean? And then when you have a checklist that's a mile long and you're not making any progress, it'll weigh you down, right? So I felt so good. I pull up Facebook and write on Tony's wall, which, Beth, you know what's so funny? We don't write on people's wall hardly anymore. Like, that was such a trend back in the day on Facebook, but like rarely do you see people write on people's wall anymore. Why don't we do that more? I don't know. But then I love to support my friends in direct
Let's
sales.
bring
So
it back. We're bringing it back. We're writing on each
okay,
other's
let's just
walls.
bring it back.
We're
I mean,
bringing it
because
back.
other people can see what we're doing. But I wrote on her wall and I said, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. I cannot believe it took me this long to try this. Back to work. Oh, I want to get it for free. Back to work I go. So she, a couple hours later, calls me. Funny story. Paul Gravett, who introduced Tony to Thrive, who's also the CEO of the company, saw that post. So he called her. She was getting her hair done. She didn't even see it. He saw it first and said, who is this girl? And we need to talk to her. And so we get on the phone and Tony's laughing at me because y'all, I sound so different. And I will tell you, I am so embarrassed. I will not share the messages that I sent her all those times before because I was not very nice. Like, I don't want anyone to see how nasty I was. But I was in a bad space. So that's another thing. Like, y'all, when people don't feel good, it's, and hurt people. I wasn't like crazy hateful, but I'm embarrassed of those messages that I sent back and forth to her. Well, she's laughing because I sound totally different because I'm thriving. And in her, she's going, I told you so. But anyway, so we start talking and I'm just like, I feel so good. And I wanted to actually hear about free. Like, she had tried to talk to me about free before, but I didn't want to hear about it because I wasn't thriving. I didn't want to talk to her. And so we continue the conversation and Paul says in this like Southern voice that he's got, that's even more of a Southern drawl than mine, you got a lot of tired, exhausted mama friends that need this. And I could see all those tired, exhausted mama friends. I mean, I have 4 kids, so there's like 3 different mom circles, right? And in the beginning, all I was thinking about were all the tired, exhausted mamas I was going to help because that's who I was. I was the tired, exhausted mom. So I just thought that that's who needed to thrive. Well, today I know it's mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, neighbor, college student, everybody needs it. But back then I was literally focused on, I got to help all the people that are just like me. So when he told me that I could go VIP 800 and earn up to $660 on my first $800 in sales, in my mind, I'm on fire. Like, I feel so good. And I'm like, oh, no, everyone needs this. So it doesn't even cross my mind that the people that I know need it, that I'm going to tell them about it, might tell me no. Like, I'm just convinced that, oh, $800 in sales. Like, I know way more than 4 or 5 people that need this. Like, that's a no brainer. I can do that. Well, then VIP 1600, I could earn up to $1,320 on 1600 in sales. Oh, I know way more than 8 or 10 people that need this. Like, in my mind, y'all, I did not think anyone would tell me no. Rude awakening, like the next day. But I just knew that I could do this. And so I remember I was taking all this notes and I remember asking him, how the heck do y'all make any money doing this? Like, y'all aren't making any money doing this. And he just kind of laughed at me and he didn't explain that this is their investment in their company because they believe so much in their products that they know if you have 4 or 5 friends that are blowing up your phone saying they feel better than they have in the last 10 years, and then all of a sudden the next Tuesday, $500 hits your bank account, you're in. You're going to go build their company. They know if you've got 8 or 10 people and $1,000 hits your bank account in that first 2 weeks, you're in and you're going to go build their company. See, they pay us to refer people to their company. So they're fine with making that initial investment in you that the company doesn't make anything because, again, they know what the power of their product and they know the power of the stories. And if they fuel your bank account with these stories, it's game on. And so I went to bed that night. I remember talking to her and I couldn't sleep at all. And honestly, I didn't sleep for like the first, it's weird because like one of the main things that people rave about with Thrive is better energy throughout the day, better sleep at night, management of discomfort. Well, my headaches went away almost right away. Energy was through the roof. I did not sleep though. But I think, Beth, it was my brain could not stop because I knew I had discovered something that was going to change everything. And y'all, there was no talk of millionaire back then. There was no talk of 200K back then. There was talk of an auto bonus. And I thought, well, that would be cool. Like, I wasn't motivated by a fancy car. I was motivated by no car payment. But you know what I was really motivated about? We were broke. Christmas is around the corner. And this was a way that I could pay cash for Christmas. Like, that was my initial set my soul on fire, keep me up at night. And very quickly, things just started growing. I picked up the phone. I called so many people. I would text them. I would get them on the phone as soon as I could. Tony, I had attempted a network marketing company right before this, and they had stressed the importance of three-way calls. I didn't have any success there, but I had been hearing about three-way calls. So I knew, okay, people in network marketing do three-way calls. Had that seed in my mind. Tony said, get me on the phone with these people. I was working full time. I didn't have time to, like figure this all out myself. I just knew that I loved it and I felt amazing. And I knew Tony had been doing it for a long time. She had already left her nursing career. This was her full-time job. So I let her talk to my people. I brought her the people. She earned me the bonuses. And the funny thing is when we say I work this in the nooks and crannies of my day. So I will say one of the things that did help me out was, as a contract speech therapist and a home health speech therapist, I would go treat a patient, like say I had a patient at 10 o'clock. Well, then I would be in the car at least for a few minutes to drive to the next patient. So I would text Tony and say, hey, if I call you at 10:50, will you be available? Because that means I've got somebody on the phone that wants to hear about Thrive. She'd say yes. I would call her, hey, this is my friend so-and-so. I've told her I feel amazing, but I don't know anything about it. Can you please share your story? Put the phone on mute. Half the time I'd drive to the patient's house. They're still talking, put the phone in my bag, walk in the door, start treating the patient. I don't even know what they're saying. Like, I have no idea what's happening on the other end of the line. And it's so funny if you've ever heard Tony tell this story, because at first she's like, Mauria, are you there? Are you there? Oh, well, I guess she had to go inside and treat her patient. But I mean, y'all, I had to do what I had to do. My job as a speech therapist, that was my money maker. So I had to get to work. And by the way, when you're treating a geriatric patient, they do not want you pulling in their driveway and sitting in their car. Okay. Like, that was out of the question. And if they're expecting you at a certain time, you better show up at a certain time anyway. Right. So out of respect for my patient, and also because that was my money maker, it's okay. Phone goes in the bag. Tony does the work. Like, that's literally how I launched my business. It's crazy, but that's the truth. And today, the smartest people will do the exact same thing. Who is your upline support that has an amazing story, that will answer their phone, and that will share that story, answer people's questions? They do the work for you. You just have to bring them the people. So that's where it all started. Obviously, we paid cash for Christmas. Back Christmas, we had earned the auto bonus. And like I said, I wasn't motivated by a fancy car. I drove a used Chevy Suburban at the time, went and traded it in on a used Cadillac and had a lower car payment. And here we go. And so then Christmas rolled around, right? And January hit, and my business is exploding, like literally exploding. People are feeling amazing. They're referring to get it for free, because we're talking about that. That's a number one priority. Refer to get it for free instantly. Y'all, that takes 1 customer to 3 customers instantaneously. That triples volume. Okay. It just makes sense that is number one priority. VIP 800, VIP 1600. I was telling my friends and family, I feel amazing. I haven't had a headache in 6 days. And I just earned a VIP 800 bonus, like $500 went into my account last week. That's Christmas cash. My friends are like, heck, I want my headaches to go away, and I want some Christmas cash. Right. And so it just kept growing. It kept growing, momentum like crazy, stories like crazy, connection like crazy. And in January, I look up and I'm like, holy crap. Like, I was still working full time as a speech therapist, but I had this weekly income that was all extra. So you know what we started doing? Paying off debt. I owed $80,000 in student loan debt. 80,000. I do have a master's degree. My parents couldn't pay for my school. And I actually got pregnant my junior year of undergrad and was not married. So had to take out a lot of extra months to live, and a little girl as well. So I had a lot of student loan debt. I remember, y'all, before this came into my life, I told you my daughter was in junior high. And before Thrive, I would lay in bed at night and go, how in the world am I going to pay off my student loans before she goes to college? I did have a little college fund that I'd established for her, but y'all, it didn't have hardly any money in it. And it wasn't growing to where it was going to actually pay for her college. Plus, I still owed all that 80 grand. We paid more in student loans monthly than most people pay on their mortgage. You talk about stuck. We were stuck. I wrote every debt that we had, all debt. We had financed a camper, financed a boat, credit card debt, it was so stupid. So I laid out all the debts that we had, and every week it was pay the smallest balance off first. Then we went to this balance, then we went to this balance, then we went to this balance. By April, student loans paid in full. On my vision board, it said student loans paid in full December 2014. We paid them off in April. Now, are these results typical? Nope. Did I hustle? Yes. Is this a get rich quick? Nope. Does it take a hell of a lot of work? You better believe it. I actually shared a picture. Was it yesterday, Beth, that I shared the picture of me? I'm laying on the floor on my stomach. I have my phone in hand, my earbuds in, my iPad open that I won from the company, and my computer up. Like, that is how I was. You talk about multitasking, you talk about all out, you talk about, yes, that is exactly what I did. And you know what? I taught a whole lot of other people to do the exact same thing. And this company has changed our life. Nothing today is the same as it was then. I always say, like, Ralph and I, we're still the same people as we were when we worked in the schools and made a combined 60 grand a year. But life is different. Life has more options. And the reality is that money doesn't give you happiness, but lack of creates a lot of stress. And more than anything, I know that we weren't created to just pay bills and die. And I have to share a little bit of this. So as a speech therapist with my patient group, I worked a lot with patients that have had strokes or traumatic brain injuries. So there was a significant life event that happened that changed life in an instant. And when you do home health, you get to know the patient's family. Okay. And I loved home health, even though there were some times I walked into some sketchy situations. Sketchy situations. Okay. But getting to know their families, I would hear from the wife or I would hear from the husband, and a common theme as I would get to know them. And because, I wanted to be in their home so I could make a difference improve their quality of life in their day to day. Right. And the more you can work with their family, then the more we can probably create an impact, just make it a little bit better, a lot better, but they would say, well, we were gonna do this, and we were gonna, and we were gonna. And y'all, that long before Lavelle entered our life, I'll tell you why. I heard that, and I told my husband, oh, we're not waiting on later, because later may not come. Like, I was in such an environment where that's all I did was I saw people that as life events had happened that impacted their life, that changed their future. And so I may not have had a brand new piece of furniture in my house, but by God, we took family vacations. We just put it on the credit card. And then I had the debt. And then thank God for Lavelle. Like, Lavelle, this opportunity gave us a second chance at life. It gave us a second chance physically, but it gave us a second chance to wipe that slate clean, make better decisions, move forward. But that is so big, and I think, more than anything, we've seen that this year, that life can change. And sometimes that plan B that we thought was just the plan B can become the plan A. I mean, if you are on here right now and this year, your Lavelle income, your plan B helped pay the bills because of something that happened because of the current pandemic, let us know. I mean, I know a lot of people that happened for them. I think one of the reasons our company grew so much is because there were a lot of people that went home and they had more time on their hands to actually build this business. Okay, who is that? Yes, I would not have been able, where did it go? I can't, to be home with my kids. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, how, y'all, more than ever before, I hope people are realizing the importance of the plan B. And let me just preface this. Everyone that joins this business does not leave a career. Like, and a lot of people don't need to. A lot of people have amazing careers where they are, they're very happy. There's no reason, like, we don't tell people here to go leave your job. Okay. We don't. And I've actually learned a lot from that, because we've had some people that did because they could afford to, but their businesses went backwards when they did because they really had too much time on their hands, or they didn't really, yeah, I mean, too much time on their hands. Then a lot of people, their primary career, that is their calling, but this is the side hustle that enables them to even do more with their calling, right? See, this is not a means to an end here. This is an opening of doors that happens here. So do you have any questions, Beth, before we talk about the opportunity on the table? Oh, last but not least, I haven't even told you guys. So what has Thrive done for me? I will not go a day without it. I feel younger. I look younger. I mean, you can go stalk any Thriver's Facebook page and look at the albums before. And I'm not going to blame it on that we have better cameras. Okay. I'm aging backwards. I'm the mom that looks forward to the things with the kids. I'm not the mom that dreads it anymore. I don't deal with those headaches anymore. I became a runner before Thrive. So funny. There was a Couch to 5K that I had signed up for once upon a time because I thought it was a cool thing to do, and a friend invited me. I could run a mile, but then not walk for 3 days because my knees were so inflamed. So I never could run. I actually was a pretty decent runner when I was in junior high. I'm telling you, Jaden didn't. Like, she may have gotten a little bit from her mama. My daughter's a college track Division I athlete, but in high school, I quit. I quit sports because my knees were so bad. I've ran 3 half marathons since Thrive. Like, who am I? I don't even know. And then lately, I've been getting up super early to go run with some mama friends. We actually ran the other morning in like 28 degrees. We're insane, but it's funny, here I am 7 years in, and that product, I can wake up knowing that product is still going to do for me today what it did 7 years ago. Thank God, because I've built a heck of a business. That would really suck if it didn't. But it's just, we kind of laugh about that. But funny story. I don't know if anybody follows me on Facebook, but we had gone to Wyoming over Christmas to family vacation pre-Christmas, and we checked 10 bags. There's 7 of us, but snow gear is big. Okay. Plus we have diabetes supply. Like, we just have a lot of stuff in our family. And 9 out of the 10 bags made it. Well, the 1 bag that didn't make it to Jackson Hole was my Thrive. Note to self, never, ever, 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 ever check your Thrive. Like, just always carry it on. I usually do, but for some reason I didn't. Y'all, I literally was so worried and nervous. I mean, I'm on a family vacation. I have to have my Thrive. I woke up so many times that night and just praying. Like, I'm not lying. Like, God, like, please, my Thrive get here. And it was like, oh God, okay, if it doesn't get here, just please, like, give me some energy. And then, please just give me patience. I mean, y'all, I have my 4 kids. I have a 20-year-old daughter that's lived on her own now. Like, those of you that, like, they've left the nest, and then they, you know what I mean? Like, you need a little bit more patience. Her roommate from Lithuania spent Christmas with us. So, like, I had an extra kid, and I'm like, I need my Black Label. I need my Mommy Mojo. I need my patience. I need all this. Thank God I did get my Thrive. The bag came the next day. But it's just funny how, you can, sometimes can be normal for granted the longer you Thrive. And I'm like, I end up getting lots of reminders of, how incredible this product is. So I haven't built a business because I just promote a product that, whatever. Like, I truly believe in what we have. I believe in our product. I believe in our comp plan. I believe in the people that we have running the ship. And it's that, to me, is like the best gig. Like, how did we get how fortunate are we to have found something that we love, that we can talk about and get paid to do it, and then turn right back around and help so many people experience the same thing. If you guys had seen what I've seen over the last 7 years, you would never shut up about this product. And the reality is, like Beth said, a lot of, I hear that a lot too. They're like, you still work? Like, why do you still do this? And I'm like, what else would I do? Like, this is what I love. Of course, I'm going to talk about it. And for those other top leaders and other companies that just check out, well, case in point, you don't have the product we have. You don't have the lives change that we have. And that's just the reality. So anything you want to talk about before we start talking about these bonuses? Because this is fun.
I love it. I think just go into one of the things that I think is really important when you talk about the iPad, the phone, is that when you work, and you'll talk about this in the bonus, when you work for, like, you go into that mode of, I've got from now until April 30th, that having the leverage leadership and having a product that people order over and over again, not that you didn't take a break, but when you needed to pause a bit when your son was diagnosed with diabetes, right? You had space, and then you were right back. Right. So I think that's like, when we look at the next months ahead, I look at it as I'm on that run, like I was to 200K, like I was the months that the whiteboard is out, the phones are charged, the schedule is set, and we're prepared. We're thriving. We're ultimate thriving. We're drinking our water. So I love the options. That there was a season that I had 3 months when my daughter was going through some things, and I was always available, but I wasn't doing this run that I'll do over the next 4 months. And it's like a very loyal spouse. It's always there for us. We lost your sound for a second. Let me see.
Oh, that's me.
There we go.
I didn't remember hitting that, but so what she's referencing is, last year my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and my business continued to grow. When in those moments, I'll be honest, like probably for the first 30 days, I went through an incredible grieving process. If you have any other type 1 mamas on here, I think I stood in my kitchen like for 30 days straight, just trying to find any and all recipes that I could find. And all of a sudden I became a baker because we choose to actually manage his diabetes with low carb. And so that changes everything. It was rough. And I will tell you, this business does give you so many options. So my team didn't know that I was in the place that I was in necessarily. So I still would have people reaching out to me, and I could answer text messages just fine. I could actually, a lot of people connect via voice messenger and ask us to share our story via voice messenger. I could do that easily. I could voice memo my story. I mean, I can tell you my Thrive Experience story in my sleep. And I could do 3-way calls. But y'all, for 3 months, I could not do a live. Like, people would ask me, and I'm like, I don't think I can. I'm like, I'll break down on camera. Like, I was terrified, and I am paralyzed, and I've never been like that before. But finally, I hit a place where I was like, it's time again. So yeah, I mean, there was a good 90 days ish, 3 months in my business where I wasn't that face that my team saw all the time. Yet my business continued to grow. I will also tell you, my husband and I, we realized real quickly how powerful Thrive is, because you type 1 mamas, I think we had at least one comment. The comment comes up and I can't read all of it, and then it goes away. But there would be so many nights in the beginning where we didn't sleep at all. Like, and you wake up feeling like you've been ran over by a truck, and we'd reach for our capsules. And we knew within 20 minutes, because see, we couldn't just lay in bed and sleep late. We had 3 other kids to take care of. My daughter was a senior in high school. So all things senior were happening. And then we had that happening. and no sleep. And I'll never forget the first morning that like we had had a hell of a night. And it wasn't that his blood sugar was jacked. It was that his stupid his Dexcom actually, it gives us 24-hour readings. Okay. But that was wrong. So the technology was failing and it was telling us that we were in this emergency situation, and we really weren't. But it happened all night long, and you can't ignore it, because if you are in an emergency situation, then you have to do something. And I just remember that next morning when we took our Thrive, and he's like, man, that Thrive stuff is legit. And we just laugh about it. Cause again, here we had already, our team had already done over $1 billion in sales. We'd already like been doing this for like 5 years. I'm gonna cry like talking about this, but like we're looking at it, we're like, God, that Thrive stuff is legit. And so really our Thrive experience went to a whole new level after his diagnosis. And again, over and over again, I think, oh my gosh, I mean, going and picking up his insulin and how expensive it is, and all of the things. I'm like, God goes before and he stands behind. He equipped us. He put us in this place. And I also go, oh my gosh, like how do parents do this that work full time? And how to, I mean, at least my husband and I, like we work for ourselves. So we work from our phone and we can be there, and we don't have to ask a boss off of work to go and meet with the school. We don't have to do any of that. And my heart does go out to the families that don't have those options. But y'all, that also fuels my fire to continue to help other families create options, because we don't know. I'm not saying you plan for the catastrophe or the disaster that happens in your life. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, that plan B is so important and we don't know. And so creating options is key. So let's talk about these bonuses, because these bonuses, Beth, are going to create so many options for so many people this year.
So when you think about, I mean, I love the layer of the 12 personally enrolled hitting those bonuses, and that they've added another layer to this. And when I started to really think about, are there 12 people in my life that I have not had a conversation with yet that could hit that 4K bonus? Absolutely, yes. Like they could hit the 4,000, 12,000. And you've been doing this a long time, and you're out there still getting new thrivers started. So what's your game plan when you look at, okay, I want to go for this and help a very large team? I mean, we've leveraged a lot of leaders, but you still have a tremendous amount of personals that depend on you, plus team management. So talk a little about what your personal approach will be, the mindset around it. Like, how are you preparing for this big race?
Right. Well, first prepare is, like basically you're in the mindset of it's game on through April. Like it is game on through April. This is what my calendar will be absolutely filled with. I think you've got to prepare yourself. You prepare your family. Like this is a race, and we are running through the month of April. Secondly, it's so important to get out the word, checking in. I literally was just visiting with one of my personally enrolled that's kind of been out of the mix for a little bit. Back in 2017, she got the $40,000 bonus when we ran this before, but it didn't have all these other additions to it. And we were kind of strategizing with how we were going to get her to her next bonus. So really over the last few days, Beth, what I've been doing is having conversations with my personally enrolled. Okay, what is the strategy here? Another thing that I think it's really important that we've been talking about is a lot of people have their spouse an account that's maybe not yet hit 4K, or their spouse hasn't yet hit 12K. Okay, that's the first thing you want to do, right? Because kind of like how I started paying off my debt from the smallest, you want to hit the smallest first. So if you got a 40K, but their spouse hasn't hit 4 yet, then maybe go ahead and build that. They get that match. We want to maximize this to the fullest. Her husband's account growing is actually going to grow that her account as well. So strategizing with the personally enrolled. Okay. Then also making sure that stories are being shared, making sure on my calendar at least a couple of times a day I'm doing something like this in a Zoom format or a live setting. First of all, when I do lives for you guys, guess what? My people see that too. So it does not, bother me to do a live for you to get my story into your circle. Your story gets fed out to my circle. And here we go. The funny thing is, Beth, too, it's amazing to me. I just had a conversation with someone that left her career. She called me, and she's really looking at this from a business perspective because she saw my post about the bonuses. We had talked briefly before Christmas. She said it wasn't time for her to thrive yet, but the bonuses caught her attention because she left her job right before Christmas, and she did place her customer order last night. But she said she really didn't know all the things. And I'm kind of like, in my mind, I'm going, I feel like I put so much out there on Facebook about our products, about our, not really about our comp plan, but I share so much. But most people, y'all, if they are not, like, our Thrive bubble probably sees what I'm sharing about Thrive, but they aren't in that place that they're looking for it. So they are just scrolling. So that was a real wake-up call to me, that just putting stuff out there does not mean that they are seeing it. Because I think somebody just said, if they're not looking for it, they're not seeing it. You see? So that is also why we have to be so intentional with going through. So for me, first things first is your game plan has to be who are your existing team. Okay. Existing team. Let's go make sure they know about this. A lot of people don't know about it because, again, they're not looking for it. They're not seeing it. Okay. If they're checked out, they don't even know what happened, yada, yada. They may not see you on their feed. They may have unfollowed you, whatever. Right. So checking in, going through your reports, then you've got to check your customers, and you've got to have that very bold conversation. I know you absolutely love your Thrive. I've got to tell you what's going on right now in this business, because if you've ever thought about having a little plan B, side hustle, this right here is absolutely incredible. And it's going to be for over the next 4 months. Okay. So that is huge. And then also for team, like I mentioned, making sure that my calendar will be absolutely filled with my voice being heard, my story being heard, and other stories being heard. And really that's where you've got to start. One thing I want to add, I know a lot of people will ask, well, what do you do? What do you do? And I think that the do is good, but everyone is going to do a little bit. They're going to do things differently. What you need to be asking as far as how to have success here is, how does that person that's at the level that you want to be at, how do they think? Because it's not necessarily all what they do that you have to do, but you've got to get yourself thinking like they think. Does that make sense? And like my I am statements, I mean, I'm writing them out every day. I'm not going to read all my I ams because some of them are a little personal, but like I am saying, I am investing in my future. I'm seeking possibilities. I'm stretching myself to grow. I'm seeking wisdom and discernment. I'm making smart decisions. I'm growing my circle of influence. I'm attracting people to me in this business. I'm helping others achieve success. I'm taking a person enrolled to do K-21. Like, how do you think? Like, are you already saying, oh, I'm going to help this many people? And also figuring out, what are your non-negotiables? Like, what are the things that, bar none, minimum, this is what you're doing? And then, like I said, I'm stretching that. What is that stretch? How far can you go, and throw out something that'll blow your mind? I mean, it's just like me. That was something that would blow my mind. Student loans paid in full December 2014. Well, it happened in April. So, which, by the way, I don't know if that shows you again how the momentum of our company from January to April, it has been proven to be insane. And that's another conversation I just had, Beth, I'm going all over the place, but another conversation I just had. The world is different right now, y'all. People are understanding that the power, I don't have my phone because I'm talking on it, but here's my case. This is power. This right here is power. People have their phones in their hand 24/7. Why in the world would we not find a way to make money with this thing? The world is different. People are starting to understand how important our health is. We have one body. Treat the host. Let's take care of our host. We've got one of them. Okay. So people are looking, they are looking for what we have. We've got a solution. You've just got to utilize this opportunity to fuel your fire. And Beth and I can't motivate you guys. We can inspire you. And I definitely think it's important that you understand anyone that's where you want to be. You know, they've got their car bonus and you're like, oh my gosh, like I need that so bad. Like that would make such a difference in our family's life. Don't be jealous of that person. Okay. But just use that to inspire you. That's one thing with Tony, like I never got jealous of where she was. Like back in the day, we used to be able to talk about how much money people made. Like we would list a weekly paycheck. And I remember the first time I heard her weekly paycheck and it blew my mind, but I didn't think that was impossible or I was jealous of that. I was like, holy crap, that means I'm going to have one of those. But again, how do successful people think? How do people that have gone to the top think? Are you thinking, oh, this is my year? Or have you made up your mind? This is my year. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for. This is why I haven't hit 40K yet. This is why I haven't earned my auto bonus yet. This is what is laid out and designed for me to achieve the success that I have been wanting. This is my year.
I love that. And I think too that notice those thoughts. I've even like noticed when you might say, well, they don't want to listen to me, or they won't answer my message. You will rarely hear. And I remember I always tell Mauria, like, I should just say Maria's always right, is even back in the beginning, I remember we had this chat and we would all get ourselves all bent out of shape about something super minor. And she was always giving us forward thinking, saying, hey, let's not get caught up on this. Let's look at how incredible it is that we've got X, Y, and Z. So really having that forward thinking and starting to notice if you're telling yourself or feeling that nobody's answering my messages. I don't even notice if someone doesn't answer my messages. I'm like, oh, they were busy.
Because you got so many messages going out. When you have so many going out, y'all, you're not paying attention to who's not responding. Because the more you have going out, the more they are going to respond.
And I would have never, like you said, don't get caught up if there's 3 comments on a Facebook post, because the one person that sees your story, and I was not checking Facebook when I was getting Blair's text and phone call. So if she would have waited for me to see what she was doing and to be very excited about it, I would have never found her, because I wasn't following Blair. She was too happy for me.
Exactly.
I wasn't feeling so perky. So what is the one, I want to ask one last question. What is the one moment where, I mean, I know there's so many of them, that really has made you just stop in your tracks, get on your knees, be like in tears? A moment that you can remember, the first one, because I know there's a lot that you're thinking, is this really real? Is this happening for us? Can you remember that moment?
The first thing that comes to mind was March of 2014. And my husband said, why are you still going to work? And I looked at him, because I never dreamed I wouldn't work. I mean, I told you guys I had gone to school for a really long time. I just thought, I mean, I'd never been a stay-at-home mom except for maternity leave. Does that count? And so like it was, but because of our financial situation and what was happening, and really it was, honestly, I fell in love with this so quickly, y'all, that it was like all I wanted to do. And I decreased my hours, but it was like he just looked at me and he said, why are you still going to work? And it was like, it's not that he gave me permission, because we don't have that kind of marriage, but I don't know, it was just an honest conversation. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, I don't have to go to work. Like, I can do this full time. And then I thought, holy crap, if I have the time to do this, like, I can really, really do this full time. And that was life changing. And I worried initially, because there's always a worry, there's always a distraction, there's always something negative that, I mean, we are our worst, like those voice, we just tell that voice to shut up in our mind. But I remember thinking, am I gonna like miss that patient? Because I loved my patients and I loved my career. But y'all, I've been able to impact far more lives than I ever could on a one-on-one patient basis, ever. And so, no, there's never been a void of fulfilling my purpose and making an impact on people. If anything, it's been heart overflowing. And, you know, like I said, if you could see what I've seen, you know, just knowing that I've played a small role in those lives that have changed, huge. And, you know, the first couple of times that somebody on the team had like taken their kids to Disney because of Thrive, like that, those are things that, like, you know, when I see someone build a dream home, or, you know, I'm super partial to the student loans paid in full post, you know what I mean? Like, because that was a part of my story and I know how much it meant to me. And so there's been so many, and, you know, I'll share a little something that happened yesterday. I was, on a Zoom with a team that had a team retreat in Nashville. They were at an Airbnb. There was a handful of them there. And Paul had actually called me. I don't always talk to Paul. I used to talk to Paul in the beginning all the time. But anyway, I couldn't take his call. I was on the Zoom and I said, hey, I'm on a Zoom with a group in Nashville. And he said, what's the address?
He knocked on the door.
Y'all, okay, they went nuts. So I gave him the address. He's like, well, I'm out running errands. I'll swing by there. And they start freaking out like little girls. And then they look out the window a little bit later and there's a white Porsche, which I'm like, Paul didn't tell us he has a white Porsche. I think that man trades cars like, you know, we buy jeans or something. I don't know. Probably more often than we buy jeans. Leggings, more than we buy leggings.
Right.
Yeah, or workout clothes or tennis shoes. But no, y'all, he stayed there and poured into that group of people. And it's a part of Leslie's team, Beth. And I told Leslie last night, I said, girl, I said, he probably needed that just as much as they did. Because y'all, this has been, as far as what's been hard in 2020, and obviously, I mean, I cannot wait for Cabo, but the biggest piece of me that was missing was not being on the road, in a plane, in a room with Thrivers. Like, that was the weirdest thing. And I don't like Zooms. Like, I mean, hi guys, but I prefer, like, I want to hug you. Like, I want to be in the room with you. And I know that we've figured out ways to make them more personable, you know, but I know for him, that's really, I mean, because that is what lights his fire. You know what I mean? But I love that the man that's leading the ship is not too good or not too big. And y'all, I mean, he's got a family. It was a Saturday afternoon. Like, no one would have expected him to go by there. No one. But man, you know, and then I think about those girls those women in the room that made the sacrifices to get there. And, you know, we just have a good thing going, y'all. We do. We have a good thing going. And to utilize this to continue to pour into people and build people up and take them closer to their dreams. And, you know, because it's all about, y'all, what you think about, you bring about. And when you dive into what we have going on here, you are put into a place with dreamers and people that have made things happen, and people that probably say things that blow your mind, but yet it plants a seed of what might be possible for you someday. And if that's possible for them, then your mind can go, well, but this can dang sure be possible for me. So as we close out, I know we've got to get off. We've been on here a while, but this is what happens when you get me on. I can't help it. I'm a talker, but I want you to really pay attention to how you're thinking. I want you to guard your thoughts. I want you to shake off any negativity. I want you to write your I am statements. I want you to have, in front of you where you're going with this. And then I want you to be excited about what you've attached your name to. I love that I can lay my head down every night, Beth, and know that everyone I've brought in, everyone I've spoken to that day, every seed I've planted is bringing people into a good thing, a good thing that's only going to continue to grow. That's that absolutely can change people's lives. Biggest frustrations I have are the people that hold themselves back. So thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for taking the reins while Blair is able to rest her body and do what she needs to do. Bothers her. I had a little conversation with her, and I know she's itching. I've not been in her shoes, but I've been in situations before where my mind wanted to do, but my body wouldn't. And so I understand that. Blair thinks like I think. She thinks like Beth thinks. And so that is a challenge. So continue to keep her in your prayers. And Beth, thank you so much for taking the reins and leading like you do.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for being on. And as we finish up, you guys, I just want to make some announcements for what you have coming up tomorrow and to check the team page. So 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Zoom link every single morning at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, you get me for 20 minutes. I'm going to give you like a huddle of here's what we have going on for the day. Here's what we need to put in our stories. Here's a reach out idea. You will, and if you're on Pacific time, I'll hop back on at 10 as soon as we know that we have the numbers to do that. But 7 a.m. Tomorrow night, we have Drew Hoffman coming to us for a very special Zoom. I would invite every single person that you have on your list to come and hear him. That is going to be at 8:30 tomorrow. So when I think about just tomorrow and what my action is, 7 a.m. you've got me. If you want to start early, the early bird working Zooms at 5:45, you guys, there are working Zooms every day. You can work alongside a leader. They're telling you, here's a message to send. Here's what you do. You will never be stuck with what to do to build your business. Then Monday through Friday, starting tomorrow, it's Rise and Thrive Power Plan with Beth at 7 a.m. And ask me if I've already ridden my Peloton. That's the goal. I'll share what to do to start the day. Then we have another working Zoom. This is Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. Get your newest people on those Zooms so they know how to work their business. And then this is something that's new that we're going to be starting. And tomorrow is our first one at 8 p.m. If you have someone that wants a sneak peek of what it is that we do, hop back on the Zoom link because that's 8 to 8:20. It's going to be super fast and easy. Hey, quick story. This is what it's all about. Here's what you need to know to get started. You'll see it on the schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If you're talking to someone, and this is for all of you that if you're talking to 6-7 people a day and you're like, I need a 3-way chat, this is your 3-way chat. Hop on a Zoom. One of your leaders at 8 o'clock will be leading it. And it's going to be very to the point. It's going to talk about here's what we do. Here's what's going on. Here's how you get started. It's a sneak peek. What happens at 8:30 tomorrow, do not miss. This is Drew Hoffman. And we have had like the sandwich of stars with tonight and tomorrow night. Drew will be on. I'm inviting a lot of business-minded men and women. And I am saying to them, listen, here's the president of our company. Even if you're just wanting to see and dip your toes in to see what this is all about, you've watched my journey, come on in. And if you only take away hearing from a brilliant businessman who has helped to build a multi-billion-dollar company, come on in. Then what we have tomorrow is a really, really great, it will be recorded, but Heidi and Bridget will be talking about the waiting room comp plan. We rarely teach on that, but right now with these bonuses, when you think about bringing in 12, if I said you bring in 12 4Ks, You need to understand the power of your waiting room, and Heidi's going to explain that tomorrow. So that is what's going, like, and what I want you to do is I want to keep it simple. That's why at 7 a.m. you're going to see me. I'm going to pop on the team page and remind you, here's what's going on today, but I'm going to be on the Zoom. So we can have, like, if you ever worked at a restaurant, you do a little power up huddle before, like, hey, this is what we have going on today. Here's what we're doing. Salmon is on special. The grilled asparagus is great. I just want you to have some place that you can tune in and listen to that. We as your leaders gathered today, and we are 100%, like, we will, all these Zooms, it's so you don't have to worry about what do I send, what do I say. Invite, use the Ultimate Thriver, use your fan page. And the other thing I'll tell you is, I'm going to make it my mission. I want you showing up and sharing those stories, your newest stories with your Thrive experience. Start interviewing on your timeline again. Grab your neighbor who has the best Thrive experience and say, hey, I've got, Joe Schmo down here who also has some knee issues. Can I have you share that? Get the story shared, but hop on and keep it simple. Keep it so simple on how you're inviting, because that's what we're doing for you, is saying, oh, I've talked to 6 people today. I'm going to tell them to hop on to Zoom at 8 o'clock. All right. So see you all at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, or if you're in the morning club, which I'm not there yet for the working Zoom, but I know that's a really great crowd that meets at 5:45. It's like the breakfast club. I think there's a secret code. All right. So anything, you guys, if you have questions, go to your chats, go to the team page. We're so excited to hydrate, take your Thrive, double patch, whatever it is that you have to do. You've got the run of your life. And I'll tell you, from someone that has done a 90-day run hard quite a few times in my business, it is so worth it, because it's not just building once. You're bringing in leaders, you're building leverage, you're building passive income, you're building a foundation that will continue to be a legacy for you. So don't miss this time, but also take care of yourself. Nobody benefits. That's why we want you to be able to plug into the tools, so you're not feeling like completely overwhelmed. Get your sleep, drink your water, and show back up. All right, you guys have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow morning early.